I must have got 1,000 emails. Easy. And I try to answer all my emails, and if anybody here sent one that I didn't answer, I'm sorry. But one of the ones that really hit home to me was a simple one. It said, "Welcome home." That's all needs to be said. It's hard being out in the world. It's hard being the only one in a group of people who don't understand. It's hard trying to carry the torch when most in your community support you, but some don't. But having the conviction that what you're doing are the right things. So welcome home was important to me, because I am home. Here at this conference, I am home. Here with you, with my friends, with family that I've never met, with people who are brothers and sisters, who share traits. I am home. And you are home. You need to take the energy from this conference. And you need to bring it forward in your lives, because this is what will propel you. There's someone here, I met her when I was checking in. It was her, she said, "Today is my second day of being out. Yesterday was my first." I just saw her at lunch, and this is her third day. And she's here somewhere. Where are you? Where are you? Stand up. Alice. Yeah. This has been a year of change, and sometimes you question why you get involved. Why do I put myself through this when all I ever wanted to do was be done? I didn't ask to be put in a position of having to make these difficult choices. I didn't ask because it's like being a turtle. As soon as you stick your head out of your shell, you're asking for someone to step on it. It's much safer to be in the shell. But the fact is that our community is at a crossroads where it needs voices, it needs direction, it needs people who are willing to acknowledge that we are a very diverse group of people who are not afraid to step up and who recognize that we have friends, that there are those in the broader community who are our friends, who recognize what we bring to the table, who want to be there for us. So we are not living in a ghetto. We are not hiding and huddling in some sad space where people can accept some lesser existence. We have friends. And that, to me, is what has been the big change this year. That organization after organization has stood up and supported us. And when we go back in front of Capitol Hill, people like Diane Schroer will be our heroes. People who have not backed down. These are people who are making a difference in our community. And next year, I promise you, will be different than this year. That's just the way it's going to be. But it's hard. You know, you wonder why you do things. And every once in a while, I get reminded of why this is so important. This August, I was invited to speak at a memorial service for Angie Zapata. I hope I can say this. Angie was an 18-year-old beautiful trans girl who had a hard life because she was proud of who she was, and she faced difficulty at school, with friends, in society that would judge her, that would define her, but she refused to let that happen. She was a vibrant, beautiful girl. She was murdered in July by someone who bashed her head in with a fire extinguisher, who called Angie an it, who tried to deny her personhood. Angie could have been any of us. Angie could have been our friends. Angie could have been our family. Angie could have been our brothers or our sisters. Angie could have been any of us, but it was Angie. So I went and spoke at this memorial service, and Angie's family was there. And they were the most supportive, loving, wonderful group of people you could ever imagine. If you need to adopt a family, contact Angie's family, because Angie's family is amazing. But when you see the grief of a family that has lost a loved one to a brutal, senseless act by someone who chooses to hate, you recognize that although we've come a long, long, long way, we still have a long, long, long way to go. Those kinds of things will change you, because this isn't about simply being in the news. This isn't simply about looking good or dressing right or having fun, because those things are all very important. But there's a very serious component here, and that is the threat to your right to be who you are by a society that would try to put you back in that hole. So it's important to recognize that the Angie Zapatas of the world have paid a price far dearer than any of us can imagine. That Angie's family, who loved her and accepted her, paid a price far dearer than any of us can imagine. But I tell you that the thing that's most important for all of us is to remember that the legacy that we leave for our brothers and sisters who follow, for the kids who are going to school today, who are taking the same crap that Angie had to deal with all her life, our legacy to them will be a life that is better than the life that we were forced to live. And that is why the work we're doing is so, so important. That is why we need to do the right thing. We need to stand by our principles, and we need to make sure that the decisions that we make give them the opportunity for a better life. There's a Chinese proverb that says, one generation plants the trees, another gets the shade. So just as I gained strength from those who came before me, the Becky Allisons of the world, the Andrea James of the world, who were brave enough to share their stories on the internet, so those of us who huddled quietly and hopelessly in the darkness of our own lives could finally experience hope, that there was opportunity to break free from these bonds of exile that we imposed upon ourselves. So too are we each giving hope to those who will come after us. So I hope that you will take the time here at this conference, that you will hug one another. I saw a lot of hugging going on last night, I'll tell you that. We're a very affectionate group. And you will take your experience from this conference forward, because next year we will not be standing here talking about how we were betrayed. We will not be talking about how other people broke their promises to us. We will not be talking about how we were left behind. We will be talking about how we moved forward together, that we have gained rights through energy, through courage, and because each of us has heroism that we can all use to make all of our lives better. Thank you so, so much.